Please, just let me die here, she begged. He lifted her anyway. Not today, not ever, if I can help it. She lies in the snowdrift like discarded freight. Her dress, thin cotton meant for summer, clings frozen to her skin. One boot missing. Blood crusts her temple, where something struck, or she struck something. The cold stopped hurting an hour ago. That's when she knew. Please, her voice cracks on the word, just let me die here. The man stands above her, broad-shouldered against the white sky. His coat smells of horse and wood smoke. He doesn't speak. Instead, he kneels, and his bare hand, calloused, scarred across the knuckles, touches her throat to find the pulse. Not today, he says. Not ever, if I can help it. She tries to pull away. Her body doesn't respond. He slides his arms beneath her, one under her knees, one supporting her back, and lifts. She weighs nothing. The thought shames her. Then the shame dissolves into the particular warmth of being carried. She hasn't been held in years. His cabin appears through the pines. Smoke rises from the chimney. A single window glows amber. He kicks the door open with his boot and brings her to the fire. The heat hurts. She whimpers. I know, he says. It'll pass. He wraps her in a quilt that smells of cedar and lye soap. Her frozen dress he peels away with careful efficiency, eyes averted. He brings her tea in a tin cup. She can't hold it. He steadies her hands with his own and guides the rim to her lips, bitter herbs and honey. Drink. She drinks. He says his name is Samuel. She doesn't offer hers. He doesn't ask. That first night she sleeps on a pallet by the fire while he takes the loft. She wakes twice, once screaming from dreams, once to find him sitting at the table in lamplight, mending a saddle. He glances over. You're safe here. 3 words. She doesn't believe them yet. Morning brings weak sunlight. She finds her dress washed and drying by the hearth. A shirt of his and wool trousers wait folded beside her pallet. Too large, but clean. She dresses, aware of the sound of his axe splitting wood outside. Rhythmic, steady. When he comes in with the wood, she's standing, barely. She grips the table edge. Your boot's gone, he says. I've got extras. He brings her a pair of worn leather boots, 2 sizes too large. She puts them on without speaking. He cooks cornmeal and bacon, sets a plate before her. She stares at it until he sits across from her and eats his own. Only then does she pick up the fork. They eat in silence. Outside, snow begins to fall again. Weeks pass in ritual. Samuel rises before dawn. She hears him building the fire, then his boots on the porch steps. By the time she descends from the loft, he gave her the bed after the 3rd night. Coffee waits in the pot. He teaches her without speaking, the measure of grounds, the way to bank coals, where he keeps the cornmeal. She sweeps. He doesn't ask her to. But idle hands remember things she'd rather forget. You don't have to, he says one morning. I know. He nods, returns to oiling his saddle. Her name comes out on a Tuesday. They're mending fence in the south pasture. The wire snaps and lashes his forearm, drawing blood. She tears a strip from her hem without thinking, wraps the wound tight. I'm Claire, she says. He looks at the bandage, at her face. Thank you, Claire. That night he makes venison stew. She sets the table with 2 plates, 2 forks, 2 cups. He notices, says nothing. But something shifts. The town lies 6 miles east. Samuel rides in once monthly for supplies. He goes alone. Claire watches from the window as he disappears into the trees, and something cold settles in her chest. What if he doesn't return? What if he tells someone she's here, but he comes back before sunset, brings flour, salt, dried apples, a length of blue calico. "Thought you might want a dress," he says. Won't meet her eyes. She holds the fabric. Soft, the color of summer sky. "I can't pay you." "Didn't ask you to." She sews by lamplight while he reads. He owns 4 books: the Bible, a veterinary manual, a book of Emerson's essays, and a collection of Robert Service poems. He reads the poems aloud sometimes. His voice is rough but careful with the words. "You like poetry," she says. "My mother did. Said it made hard things bearable." "Did it?" He closes the book. "Sometimes." March brings mud in the first crocuses. Claire finds them by the porch and stands looking for a long time. Samuel comes up beside her. "Spring," he says. "I didn't think I'd see another one." He's quiet. Then, "What happened to you, Claire?" She expected this, dreaded it. The words stick in her throat like bone. "I was married. He drank. When he drank, he—" She stops, breathes. "I fought back once. He fell. Hit his head. I thought he was dead, so I ran." Samuel looks at the mountains. "Was he dead?" "I don't know." "Anyone coming after you?" "I don't know that either." He nods slowly. "Then we'll be ready if they do." Not "you'll be ready." We'll. That night she unlocks the trunk she arrived with, empty except for a photograph and a broken watch. She takes out the photograph. A younger version of herself stands beside a man with cold eyes. She brings it to the fire. Samuel watches as she feeds it to the flames. "That who he was?" he asks. "That's who I was." The photograph curls and blackens. Samuel stands beside her until it's ash. The writer comes in April. Claire is planting the kitchen garden. Peas, carrots, herbs Samuel bought in town. She sees the dust first, then the horse. Her hands freeze in the dirt. Samuel emerges from the barn, stands watching. The rider resolves into a woman, gray-haired, sharp-eyed. She dismounts without invitation. "Samuel Brennan," she says. "Heard you've got company." "Mrs. Hewitt." His voice is careful. "Can I help you?" "That depends." "Who's the woman?" Claire stands slowly. Dirt under her fingernails. Samuel's old shirt hanging loose. "Mrs." Hewitt's gaze moves over her like an assessment. "My name is Claire." "Claire what?" Samuel steps forward. "She's a guest on my property, Margaret. That's all the name you need." People talk, Samuel. Woman appears from nowhere, living with a bachelor. You know how that looks. "I know how it is," Samuel says. "She needed help. I gave it. That's the beginning and end of it." Mrs. Hewitt's mouth thins. "The church ladies want to meet her, properly. Sunday service." Claire's throat tightens. Samuel looks at her. She sees the question in his eyes. She shakes her head, small, desperate. "She's not ready for that," Samuel says. "Then maybe she shouldn't be here." "With respect, Margaret, that's not your decision." The older woman remounts. "You're a good man, Samuel. Don't let misplaced charity ruin your reputation, or hers." She rides off, leaving silence thick as smoke. Claire returns to the garden. Her hands shake as she pushes seeds into soil. Samuel crouches beside her. "You don't have to go." She's right, though. People talk. Let them. It's different for men. She sits back on her heels. "You can survive gossip." "I can't." He pulls a weed, tosses it aside. "My father used to say that decent folks judge you by your actions. The rest ain't worth knowing anyway." "Your father sounds wise." "He was wrong about most things, but not that." Sunday arrives. Samuel dresses in clean clothes, saddles his horse. Claire watches from the porch. "You're going?" she asks. "Have to. I'm on the church council." He hesitates. "You could come. I'd be right there." Everything in her wants to refuse, but she sees the hope in his face, carefully hidden. He wants to show her the town, wants her to have a life beyond these walls. "All right," she whispers. The church sits white and tall against the mountains. Claire wears the blue dress she sewed. People stare. Women cluster in corners, whispering. Samuel walks beside her, close but not touching. They take a pew near the back. After the service, Mrs. Hewitt approaches with 3 other women. Their smiles don't reach their eyes. "Claire, is it? Where are you from, dear?" "East," Claire says. "East where?" "Does it matter? We like to know who's among us, for safety." Samuel opens his mouth, but a man interrupts. Tall, barrel-chested, smelling of whiskey though it's noon. "That's Frank Morrison's wife," the man announces loudly. "Saw her picture in a marshal's notice. She's wanted for murder." The church goes silent. Claire's vision narrows. Samuel's hand finds her elbow. "Tom, you're drunk," Samuel says. "I know what I saw. There's a reward." Samuel's voice drops, turns to iron. "Go home, Tom. Sleep it off." "You protecting a murderer, Brennan?" "I'm protecting a woman who's done nothing wrong. Now move." Tom doesn't move. Samuel steps forward. The threat is quiet but unmistakable. Tom backs down, muttering. But the damage is done. Every eye judges. Claire turns and walks out. Samuel follows. They ride home in silence. At the cabin, Claire goes straight inside, begins packing her few belongings into the trunk. "What are you doing?" Samuel asks. "Leaving. I've brought you enough trouble." "Claire, they'll come for me now. The marshal. Or worse, someone wanting that reward. I won't let you suffer for helping me." He stands in the doorway, doesn't approach. "Where will you go?" "I don't know. West. Somewhere. With no money, no horse, no protection. I'll manage." "The way you were managing in that snowdrift?" She flinches. He softens. "I shouldn't have said that. But Claire, running won't fix this. Staying will destroy you. Then let it." She looks at him finally. "Why?" He's quiet for a long moment. "Because you matter. Because everyone deserves one person who won't abandon them. Because..." He stops, starts again. "Because this place has been empty a long time. You made it feel like a home." Part 4. The choosing the marshal arrives on a Thursday in May. Claire is kneading bread when she sees the badge through the window. Her hands freeze in the dough. Samuel is shoeing a horse in the yard. He straightens as the marshal dismounts. "Samuel Brennan?" "That's right." "I'm Marshal Webb. Got word you might be harboring a fugitive. Claire Morrison." Samuel wipes his hands. His voice stays level. "She's here." Claire's heart drops. She steps onto the porch. The marshal looks her over. Thin, worn, nothing like whoever he expected. "Mrs. Morrison, I need to ask about your husband's death." "He's dead then." Her voice sounds far away. "Found him 3 months back. Skull fracture. You ran the same night." "I thought I killed him." "Why'd you think that?" Claire's hands twist together. Samuel moves closer, stops at the porch edge. Close enough to matter, not close enough to crowd. "He came home drunk, angry. He'd hit me before, but this time..." She breathes. "He had a knife. Said he'd finish it. We fought. He fell, hit the stove. I saw the blood, and I ran. Why not go to the sheriff? Because no one would believe me. No one ever did before." Marshal Webb pulls out a notebook, writes slowly. "Your husband had a history? Ask anyone in Millerton. They knew. They just didn't care." The marshal nods, writes more. "Doctor says the skull fracture could have been from the fall. Self-defense, most likely. But you left the scene. That complicates things. So, you're arresting her? Samuel asks. I should. Webb looks at Claire. But I've seen men like Frank Morrison. Saw the bruises on your wrist in the photograph, Mrs. Morrison. Most folks wouldn't notice. I did. He closes the notebook. Here's what's going to happen. You'll write a statement. I'll take it back, file my report. Say I found you ill, recovering, not fit for travel. Judge Harmon's fair. He'll likely rule it justifiable. But you'll need to stay put until this is settled legal. Weeks, maybe months. She can stay here, Samuel says. Webb looks between them. People will talk. They already do. The marshal tips his hat. I'll need that statement by tomorrow. He rides off. Claire sits heavily on the porch step. Samuel sits beside her. Not touching, just there. You told him where I was, she says. I told him the truth. You could have lied. I could have, but lies have a way of growing. Truth's simpler. She looks at her hands, flour-dusted, scarred, stronger than they were. I was leaving. I know. Why'd you stop me? Samuel picks up a piece of wood shaving, turns it over. My mother left when I was 12. Just walked out one morning. Never knew why. Spent years wondering if I'd done something, if I wasn't worth staying for. He tosses the shaving. I learned later she was running from something. Maybe someone. Maybe herself. But she never trusted anyone enough to stop running. He looks at Claire. I won't watch you do the same. I'm not your mother. No, you're Claire. And you deserve the chance to stop running, to choose something instead of just running from everything. The garden is green now, neat rows, new growth. Claire walks to it, kneels in the dirt. Samuel follows. She touches a pea shoot, delicate and determined. I planted these thinking I wouldn't see them grow. You will, though. If the judge rules against me, then we'll figure it out. Together. That word again. Together. Claire looks at the mountains, the cabin, the life she's accidentally built. I'm afraid. Of what? That this isn't real. That I'll wake up in the snow again. Samuel kneels beside her. Slowly, carefully, he takes her hand. His palm is rough and warm. Real. You're awake, he says. This is real. And you get to choose what happens next. She squeezes his hand, holds on. That evening they work side by side. Samuel mending fence, Claire weeding the garden. The broken watch from her trunk sits on the windowsill now, its cracked face catching light. She doesn't need it fixed. Some broken things are worth keeping just as they are, proof of survival. Dinner is simple. Bread she baked, beans, spring greens. They eat slowly. After Samuel reads while Claire sews. She's making curtains for the kitchen, yellow fabric, like sunlight. He looks up from his book. Those'll brighten the place. That's the idea. He smiles. Returns to reading. Outside, the first fireflies appear. Claire watches them through the window, small lights in the darkness, finding each other. Samuel? Yeah? Thank you for lifting me out of that snow, for not letting me die there. He closes his book. Not today. Not ever if I can help it. I meant that. I know you did. The trunk in the corner sits open now. She's unpacked everything, what little there was, made space for herself, chosen to stay, not because she has nowhere else to go, but because this is where she wants to be. Spring becomes summer. The garden grows. So do they. Not perfect, not fixed, but healing. Building something neither of them expected. Not love found, but love built, careful, daily, real. Outside, the mountains stand eternal. Inside, Lamplight burns steady. And in the space between, two people learn that home isn't a place you find. It's something you choose to build, one day at a time, together.